us. This is Mayegun live. And thank you so much for joining me. Remember, just make sure you read beyond the caption of this broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast. Like it. Share it. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them all that Mayegun today and Mayegun is live. Thank you very much for that correction. I'll fix it. Don't worry. So, brethren, thank you very much for joining me. And if you have done all of that, or in fact, you should have done all of that. I wanted to say if you have done any of that. So if you have done all of that, well, thank you. So tonight, as we are rocking Ojudioba in Ijebu, so I decided to put on my own Ijebu attire. They will say it's Yoruba attire. And it's actually a complete set. So I'm going to end up putting all of that on the moment I have fresh air in this room. But yeah, tonight, what we will be doing will be like a catch up, because I've not really been around, and you know, there's been so much to possibly catch up on. Some of them are distraction, especially the one we are starting with. Some will say these are pure distraction, and there are, you know, there are important happenings around Nigeria that should actually be consuming the energy of the supposed Nigerians than to be bothering themselves with, you know, this pastor. So that's what we're going to start from this evening, okay? And then we're going to be going from one, you know, event or what happened to the other, all right? So happy Idil, is it Idil Kabir, right? To all the Muslim Ummahs and their friends all over the world. However, while you were preparing or probably celebrating that Ileya, as we call it Ileya, right? Nigerians were triggered again. You know, what makes this a little bit interesting, kind of, is that it was also around the time that, you know, people are trying to get people's attention towards the fraud, the scam called Coastal Road, right? And it was around that time that this happened. And what happened? A vlogger in Lagos was, you know, covering exotic cars in traffic. So look at that car, look at this car, Aston Martin, you know, there's Maybach, you know, all that kind of thing, like content, you know, for the vloggers. So in the process, right, an unmarked car, a Range Rover, drove close by, wind down his own window, and there he was, the House on the Rock pastor, and that's Adefarasin. Now, Adefarasin is not really new to, you know, controversy like this, where people, or should I say, most Nigerians who believes that there are some certain pastors, right, who, you know, covertly or overtly worked for Tifnumbu by conditioning the minds of the people towards what they believe will be an end goal. And if that happens, right, why people shouldn't fight back. So he's one of those fingered. Even though he didn't publicly support Tifnumbu, while others felt like, yeah, forget that one. This is not about supporting Tifnumbu or not. He is a pastor, right? A leader, somebody that they believe should possibly act responsibly in public. So everybody they showed their own disappointment first, right? The video itself is just about 10 seconds, right? Give me a sec. Let me put that up. So what triggered people is, you know, is this 10 seconds video.
Boss. Sorry. Boss. Boss. Sorry, sir. Sorry.
So people started debating and said, wait, was that a gun? Was that a real gun? Is that a stun gun? Is it a taser? Or people shall kind of debating that. And of course, Nigerians now. So energy, opinion. Some said, those who don't like pastors. Some said it was an opportunity for them to start abusing and attacking pastors. In it all, right? It seemed to possibly have also put a question around, the bearing license to bear firearm. But behind all of that, some just turned it into a pure, those who kind of like amplified it, some of the influencers. For those who understand that the political setup of this contraption right now, so anything to keep everybody busy, you may not really probably see it that way. You just wonder, why is this news? Why is this like trending? Why is everyone kind of like upset because of this? And they are not angry because of this. Do you get that now? And then you begin to see some pattern, which we have seen over time, right? For questioning this, some turn to analysts on top this, whether not gun, whether not taser, whether not fake gun. Those who are like in defense of this guy, they said, well, in today's Nigeria, what is wrong in protecting or like acquiring firearm to defend yourself? Others are like, is it not a pastor? Are they not the same one praying for their own members, right? To believe in, the blood of this and that, okay? In all of these debates, right? I mean, just somehow as you are like, about, okay, what's be the benefit of this whole thing? Exactly. But that is where I'm going with this. For you to understand that Nigerians actually dedicated their energy to try to analyze if, what this pastor, what he flashed was a gun, meaning he sort of like threatened, an unarmed person. That means he's got an anger issue, like with the way you see it and all of that stuff. Okay. So before Adefarasin himself finally sort of speaks on it, and he just made the whole thing worse, right? Here is a Nigerian to try to want to educate people, say, listen, this is, and you remember, this is us just 2-3 days ago that we exposed, right? That they are claimed completed 30 kilometers that they paid 1.4 trillion naira for. A project that lasted for 18 months, no, hang on, 15 months. So the 30 kilometers they claim to have completed is not even 30 kilometers. A lot of expose on that people should begin to kind of question. It was also around the time when people were like seriously concerned that the National Assembly of Nigeria want to spend 400 billion naira to construct 1,477 street lights at the rate of 266 million naira per street light. Like that should, in Nigeria of today, that should kind of get people to say, man, no. It was this one. This guy even tried. He did a slow motion analysis. Now he's here.
So I usually don't get involved in conversations like this, but then after listening to Pastor Adefarasin, if I'm calling his name right, he's preaching this morning, I thought to do a short edit and to show exactly if it was a gun or not. And lo and behold, guys, it's not a gun, it's a flare gun. But the only confusion I'm having that I've attached in this video is the trigger guard, where you have the trigger to pull. What is holding doesn't have it. But then from all indication from the tip, it's looking like a flare gun. So I don't know, whoever can make a proper edit and show the picture clearer than I have, please let's clarify. But from the look of things, it is not a gun. Yeah, just thought to share that. So I usually don't.
I told you, somebody sat. This is just to let you know that they were all so involved, right? That they needed to say, no, come on, this is not. I am like, hey, oh boy, see life, well. Thank you, Jerry Latu Aruno. Anyway, let me just dress in the full regalia of that, the Royal Majesty. But before we even do that, I'll do that behind the scene. However, Adefarasin himself now put out a statement. And that statement, he said, some people were trying to make, this a big deal. That what he was holding, an object that I was holding was definitely not a gun. He didn't tell anyone what he was holding. Because some people felt like, come now, Baba, why you go the flash gun? It's just like me in Nigeria, right? And I just could pull out gun anytime and just be like, So why would you even do that? Like, what was going on? Nigerians now, so they've made up different excuses for him. But what did he himself say happened? Baba turned it into my anger problem that people are reacting to, that made it onto the internet, which a lot of people have read so many meanings to, right? It's no longer that. It's not what you see. In fact, it is an attempt to attack his church. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah? I'll show you. Adefarasin.
This is not merely an attack on a local church or a pastor. It is an organized stratagem of the one that we war with. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual powers and princes, spiritual wickedness in heavenly places, spiritual wickedness in high places, and a range of about 13 cadre of demonic host. And so the enticement of the enemy is always the love of money, at the root of all evil. What we have had to witness was clickbaiters, just looking for more money. I probably wasn't even their target. Their target was to make more money. And I was falsely accused of bearing a firearm, pointing a firearm at an aggressive content creator who came within personal distance. The only thing separating me and him was about maybe 3/4 of a meter and glass. I do not have a pistol license for a firearm. I do not carry a firearm, and I pointed no firearm at anybody. Amen. And it's our policy not to dignify hate speech, false accusations. We believe that God is bigger than that. And we believe in what is said in Romans 12 and verse 19. And it was unique because it came home on a Saturday when I observe Sabbath, because it's a great time for me. I don't make a huge law out of Sabbath, but I believe in the principle of Sabbath. And unfortunately, several persons called me and sent me many videos. I was shocked. I'll be candid with you. I was shocked. I was hurt. I am human. But God is touched with the feeling of our infirmities, and is able to first give us succor. And what the enemy means for evil, he works it for good. On that note, I will lay that matter to rest. Case closed.
Now, in fairness to him, all right, he's a private citizen, and of course, he's also right when he said these guys are out to make money. That is what content creation is. But he found a way around turning it into enemy this. Do you get that now? The enemy of the church, at the spiritual realm, at the high number 9 realm. Kilo de Pastor Adefarasin. Like, it'll be everything we're not supposed to take. Like, I understand the part where he is human. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much you feel towards your criminal leaders as well, right? So people like himself, if you accuse him of being the friend of the system, you can say he's an enabler because he's a benefactor from the system. So what does that mean? In Nigeria, there's something called what do you call it? The politicians, pastors, the politics, and the people. No, it's not even pastors, it's preachers, because it could be pastors, it could be imams. In fact, it is both. Do you understand? So the way Nigeria's system is sorted is that the criminals in government, they know what is right. But doing what is right is going to harm them, which means they will lose control. All right? And what is the framework of keeping everybody under check? Denying them the basic things of life, the opportunities that could make them so like economically independent, that they can actually have a standard. And once the citizens have standard for their leaders, that means there is an expectation. So once those leaders falls below the expectation, they remove them. If they resist, the people revolt, because the standard they have, like the economic standard, everybody is fine. Not everybody, like majority is fine, right? So the criminals denied you that, okay? Shrank the opportunity space, forcing many to end up looking for miracles. And in Nigeria, you have all calibers of pulpit bandits. We call them pastorpreneurs as well, okay? So the people that have become the victims of a failed system, orchestrated by the criminal politicians, these people will now rush to different places looking for miracles, and that is where the likes of Adefarasin have a business. Don't get me wrong, we all know what we are looking for in this life, so don't judge anyone. The only thing is that if you understand why some Nigerians are upset with the preachers, it's simply because of what I just told you now. Because the moment people approach them, people who are supposed to go for medical tests, checkup, treatment, and all that, if the system had provided that, because the system denied them all of that, they ended up looking for all these solutions to all these problems from these pulpit bandits, all right? And the pulpit bandits ended up having to gain so much influence and control over these people that they ended up offering them more than what sent them to this pulpit bandits. So now you see all these pastorpreneurs, right? They begin to now promise them things that will give them hope. Like your miracle is on the way, your job is on the way, your husband is on the way, your wife is on the way, your child is on the way, this and that, like that. And all these offers are normal things that people would have found answers to if the system is working. So when you see a lot of people who are angry with these pastorpreneurs, is that they said they have succeeded. They are enablers. They are not directly the people's problem, but they're just part of it. They are those who are giving people false hope, using this religion to make them believe in something that's going to happen. And if you ask them to challenge the status quo, the criminals now, say somebody where they don't tell, say, Ingo travel, go America. You are going to go to, the way I'm seeing you, Mr. Akinola, the Lord told me that this year, you will become an American citizen or a citizen of either America. I can see Canada, America. Sir, I've been thinking it. I want to leave this country. I said, no, you will leave. This year is your year. I'm not mocking people. I'm just kind of trying to tell you how these rogues have been enabling the criminals in power to ensure that people are sort of like, fraudulently or religiously fraudulently tied down. And only a few people understands that. Because a lot of people will ask you, why do you even hate pastors? No. There are those who seek spiritual clarity in this life. Here you get now. There are those who be say from all over the world. They still travel all over the place to go and seek spiritual class. Now their choice be that. But when you are in a country where 200 million people are living, you know, in abject poverty, the way they have forced it and normalized it on you, you would expect Nigeria to have preachers like Martin Luther King. I'm just saying, like those who can use the pulpit to wake up at the